Hello and welcome welcome back to the stream. Gotta remember to do the mini crossword and the spelling bee today. My throat is pretty rough today. It's pretty buggered. The weather's not great in sunny old Melbourne. It's pretty cold and pretty wet and disgusting because it's Melbourne. And that's what you get. That's what you get when you leave the best city in the world to move to Melbourne. You get shit weather and good coffee. What can you do? I probably only have like coffee at a cafe like made by a barista probably like 3 or 4 times a year because like I'm always just trying to save all of my money, so I never really have it. So there's actually no point to living in Melbourne. Don't do it, guys. It's not worth it. Especially if you're a tight ass and you don't actually want to take advantage of the only world-class thing that Melbourne does. Yeah, it's got the best coffee in the world, but at what price, I ask you? At what price? And how expensive is fucking coffee these days, mate? Fuck. Alright, let's do some spelling. We've got to use the letter M, and our other letters are R, Y, I, A, F, N. Fanny. Oh no, we can't have Fanny. I got lots of problems. Let's just say. Oh, there's no E. I'm not smart. Oh, Marina. I can have that. See, I did do a good thing. Bomb. That's a special case word for special case people. In the army, you can sail the 7 seas. I know that's wrong, but I don't care. Let's go for rimming. No, we can't have rimming. There's no G. These letters are Elvish coded. Yeah, they probably are. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much commentary to add, really. Oh yeah, there's no E. Miff. MILF. Imagine if we could make MILF. That would be good. Well, we got 10 points, guys. We're the intellectual class. We truly are. The intelligentsia. We're definitely the first people to go in Hassan's revolution. Duka duka duka. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm really not with it tonight. I don't know. Tomorrow's State of Origin. I want to try and make my VTuber model have a New South Wales Blues jersey. I'm pretty sure I can just stick like, I know I want to do like the mid 2000s jersey with like the big VB logo on the front. I'm pretty sure I can just make like a blue jumper and just stick all the logos on there. I don't know. We'll see how we go. That might be fun. It might be a project for me to do. Scored too high in the crossword. We scored the nuff score in the spelling bee. They were like, yeah, this person has a year 2 reading level. Thank you, I do. Boston Brahmin types. I don't know. I know Boston's in Massachusetts. Do I get a point for that? Probably not. Look forward to nothing. Life is pointless. Okay, crossword. Stock market bounce back. Whimsically amusing. Hearing or sight. Sense, maybe? Well, please help me. Voting districts. Electorate. Rally or dead cat. Rally or dead cat for what? Oh, stock market. R-A-L-L-Y. Yeah, rally. Can fit. Voting districts. What's a voting district called in America? I don't know. I call them electorates. Context of a box labeled SMTWTFS. I don't know. Maybe it's... I don't know. Maybe someone with dyslexia was labeling all the boxes. I don't know. Focus of Vogue and Elle. Fashion. Yes. I know that. Nope, it's not fashion. It's not fashion. What? Is that not what it's for? Focus of Vogue and Elle. Maybe they're the models? Maybe the models are there? I don't know. I'm very stumped today. Whimsically amusing. I don't know what that means. Establishment offering chemical treatments. I don't know. Yeah, I just might be too dumb for this today. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Focus of Vogue and Elle. I mean, I guess the models are the focus of the magazine, but then that means the other two things that I put in are wrong. But let's see. You know what, guys? I actually can't be fucked. I can't be fucked. I don't have a big enough chat to help me, so I guess I'm just dumb. I don't know. Let's just solve it. Just tell me it, alright? I'm clearly dumb. Yes. I want to see what the words were. Show me the words. I want to see if I even got anything right. Wasps. Oh, the white Anglo-Saxon. Is it white Anglo-Saxon Protestant something? Oh wait, rally. It was rally. Oh, style, Vogue, style. So we did get those two correct. Okay, that does help a little bit. Oh, I was like, how is this real? Who am I doing an impersonation of? If you know, you know. I'm so mean to everyone on this site. I get a millionth of their view. It's so good for me. All right. Well, let's check in with everyone's favorite dickhead, Johnny Somali, with another video from Legal Mindset. I'm gonna have some tea. My throat is caning. It's not good. It's not doing good.
On this channel, we have predicted that Johnny Somali, Ramzi Khalid Ismail will get jail time, will have time behind bars. And now we have a South Korean lawyer that's come out there publicly in a rare appearance for South Korean lawyers and said, yes, he concurs with our analysis on the Somali conviction team that he will indeed see time behind bars. Of course, this is Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney over here in Asia. So
Judge, jury, and executioner, baby.
It's very rare. It's extremely rare to see South Korean lawyers get on social media and comment on an active case. It's something that we deal with very commonly in speaking to lawyers in Korea and them being very reticent to comment. So we have a South Korean lawyer who posted this on Facebook and gave some interesting comments about the Johnny Somali case. Now, I'm going to break this down and analyze it, but I want to first play it for you guys in its entirety so you're able to see that and see the comments by this lawyer. So we'll start out here and just let him speak and give his comments. He was asked the question, can you keep Johnny Somali in jail? And let's see his response here.
DC, can you guys keep Johnny Somali in jail? Considering what he did after he entered Korea, he must be definitely, stay in jail for a while. However, you should know that while he's in jail, everything he eats in there, the stuffs that he uses, the water that he uses, the accommodation, the jail where he resides, it is all run by our tax, Korean people's tax. And so in fact, like putting him in jail doesn't really benefit, Korean public, fact. But of course, as a means of justice, he must face the imprisonment for a certain period of time. It seems like he's trying to lower.
Yeah, chuck him in the bin. Chuck him in the bin. He keeps doing it because he F's around and he never finds out. Like, don't chuck at Japan, okay? Don't chuck at Japan. Throw him in the bin. Chuck him in the bin.
His sentence by admitting guilt and apologize to the court and to the Korean public. Although none of it doesn't really seem genuine, but still, court is quite lenient to that kind of crimes committed by foreigners. Any foreigners, like that kind of YouTuber, sometimes make a strategy that they didn't really know about Korean law, and that's why they continued that disrespectful attitude and behavior. That's the
but that type of behavior isn't acceptable anywhere. It's not. Most places you're going to get punched in the face. Like, I don't know about America, obviously. Maybe Johnny Somali's was never punched in the face for being a dickhead. But in Australia, someone would be like, hey, stop being a dickhead. You get punched in the face. That's what would happen. And that's how we keep our fuckwit ratio low, guys. That's how we keep the fuckwit ratio low. Because we don't, go be a fuckwit at home. That's what you do. Like, once you get home, you just let all your fuckwitness out. And then when you go out into public, you can act somewhat normal. That's what I do. That's my coping strategy for life.
Typical strategy that they're using to get away with their crime. And it works in many times. But in fact, his actions were really rude, out of manner. So and it became really viral. I'm quite sure that he will face jail time.
Quite sure. That's quite sure he will face jail time. So I'm going to break that down because there's a lot going on in there. First of all, the first thing to separate out, and there is a little bit of language thing with this, and this is something that even I sometimes make mistakes on, even as an American lawyer. But in the American parlance, in the American legal vocabulary, there is a difference between jail and prison. Jail is typically short term, typically pre-trial, before trial. So keeping someone behind bars before trial, and also keeping them for a very short period of time.
Yeah, and I would just use them interchangeably to refer to any form of incarceration. Jail, prison, whatever. They're the same. They're the same to me. I mean, I know they're not necessarily the same in some jurisdictions, but, you know, if you're incarcerated, you're in jail. That's what it means. You're in prison.
Perhaps for a misdemeanor. Prison is typically for a longer period of time and typically after a conviction. So after someone is found guilty. So in Korea, as we've explained many times on my channel, especially if you're a regular viewer, and by the way, whether you're a regular viewer or not, smash the like button right now if you like this content. But jail is typically a short-term thing and typically before trial. So what he's trying to say is, and what he does say, is that the Korean strategy is to let them pay for their own stuff before trial. So they typically don't put people in jail before trial, before a conviction, because as he said, the Korean taxpayer has to pay for everything, the water, the food, everything. So they let them on their own. And as I mentioned on this channel, and as you're seeing this trial play out, trials can take a year or 2 years. So if the trial takes 2 years to conclude, that will be 2 years that Korean taxpayers are paying for Ramzi Khalid Ismail, Johnny Somali. And that's something their system doesn't like. They like to bleed them of their resources. And
Yeah,
that's
I
actually been
see that.
working because we've seen Johnny and Hank, his top ally, Hank Hon Jong-yu, begging for money online, saying he's broke, he's destitute. So we're seeing that their strategy is actually working. The Korean strategy is working because the taxpayer doesn't have to pay for them. Now, with imprisonment, he's concurred. He said, yes, no, he will see some time. It's very likely he'll see some time. Now, one thing I want to be clear about and add a little annotation there is talking about leniency. It is generally true, and we've talked about this on the channel, that sentences are not crazy compared to, for example, the United States or other jurisdictions, certainly other comparable jurisdictions that might have very severe, long punishments. And in fact, many people think Johnny Somali deserves more than 5 years in jail. We did a poll in my chat, and the majority, the vast majority, over 75%, thinks that.
Yeah, he needs to be sent a really strong message, because obviously he's just going to keep on repeating this behavior. There's something very wrong with the guy's brain. Like, I don't know. Yeah, he needs removing from society. Like he's not allowed to be around the normal people anymore.
He deserves over 5 years in jail. So many people think he should be there a long time, and it may come down the line, and I've always disclosed this, that he may only get a couple years. He might get 3, he might get 5, he might get 7, he might get 10 or 12. It's possible, but he will not be getting life in prison. There won't be any capital punishment. So some might view this as quote unquote lenient, given the scope of what he's done. Now, also, he mentions the apology. Now, a lot of people in the press in Korea have seen that public apology, that apology he did in front of the Statue of Peace, the Comforts Woman statue. Everyone knows that was not a genuine apology. And that's what he's referencing there, that the strategy and the general strategy that does work is for people to give an apology because they know, hey, that's going to mitigate things. Johnny Somali has not done that. He's tripled down on it. That fake apology, people.
Yeah, that fake apology was mocking Koreans, and Koreans are very, very smart people. So all you're doing is just pissing them off more. Yeah, it wasn't a good strategy, but he knew what he was doing. He was trying to be inflammatory. And yeah, he got the response he wanted. Now hopefully he gets the repercussions, you know, for being that much of a dickhead.
people have seen through as fake. And going into the defense of, oh, I didn't know, he's actually already pled guilty to most of the crimes. And the ones that he's fighting, it's not that he didn't know, it's that he's trying to say, but they did it too. So from a defense standpoint, it isn't even something that really is brought up in terms of the legal strategy pursued by Johnny Somali. So that's very good to see the points that we wanted to see reinforced, and also pointing out that, hey, this is a common strategy. And I think because it's a common strategy for people to pretend they didn't know, or people to apologize only to run away and try to escape consequences, that we call this out, that the Somali conviction team, my team working on this case, calls this out, points out that he's not genuine, points out that he's not sincere, points out that he's trying to do everything he can to wriggle out of this, and to make it so that all of the factors that go towards aggravating this, meaning making this worse, are factored in, that the judge factors those in, and the judge does not look at any factors, because there are none, that would lead to leniency or mitigation. Because at this point, there really has not been a single, even a single attempt at a genuine apology. It has in fact been over and over and over again that he's doubled and tripled down. He's made threats. He's attacked people. He's just threatened people, including the judge's mother. He's really gone.
He's a smart boy. He's a very, very, very smart boy. You're supposed to at least act contrite until you get away with it. Then when you're out of the country, you go, nya, 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 nya. He doesn't even understand the basics of being a smug little fuck.
Absolutely crazy. And because of that, I don't think the judge will take this easy. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I do appreciate a South Korean lawyer speaking up on this, so I want to give props to the South Korean lawyer over there on Facebook. Leave a comment below, and I'll catch you on the next.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, should we talk about AUKUS? Yeah, we'll talk about AUKUS. Trump disrespecting Australia. See, the thing is, Trump's just doing what every American leader wants to do. They're like, oh God, I have to pretend that I care about Australia. Oh, I have to pretend that like I respect these people. Whereas Trump can't be bothered. He's just showing us the contempt that America shows for us behind closed doors. That's all he's doing. That's all he's doing. In a lot of ways, I respect it, because I think a lot of Australians would prefer to know where we stand. Because we Australians, we don't really beat around the bush. We're very honest, frank people. We'll tell you what's up. Yeah, he doesn't think we're important enough. He doesn't care. He doesn't respect us. But let's check in. Trump is going to leave G7 early without talking to Anthony Albanese, our Prime Minister. Yeah, this is what America thinks of us, guys. You only have to read any WikiLeaks cables or any documents that have been leaked to know that they just don't respect us. They don't see us as a sovereign nation. They are more than happy to meddle in our politics and affect our right to self-determination. There are what we would call dickheads. The Americans, fuckwits. Grade A, see you in the Northern Territories. We are not fans on the Pandora Show of America. Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. You're all fuckwits.
Will leave the G7 summit in Canada early, meaning his planned meeting with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is now in doubt. The White House says President Trump is returning to Washington to, quote, attend to many important matters. Now, this news broke moments after Anthony Albanese finished a press conference in Calgary, in which he said he was looking forward to his meeting with Donald Trump tomorrow. National Affairs correspondent Jane Norman is travelling with the Prime Minister and joins me now live. Jane, what do we know about why the President is leaving?
Hello. Well,
this news has only just broken in the last half an hour, and we found out via a statement from the White House Press Secretary Carolyn Levitt, who said simply that the president was leaving the G7 summit tonight local time, so cutting his visit short by a day, and also basically missing out on the substantive talks tomorrow. So she further...
And this may well be that they're coordinating something with Israel in terms of Iran, and maybe it is the case that he genuinely does have to get back to Washington. I mean, there's a small chance that that's whatever, but I think it's just literally he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck about us. We have such a one-sided relationship with America. It's very parasitic. They just suck and suck and suck and suck all of our blood out. Absolutely disgusting behavior. I, for one, I welcome some type of new world order. Not that new world order, Alex Jones. Pipe down, mate. I know you have the documents, but I'm just saying, culturally and obviously geographically, we are more aligned with Asia. I really feel that we have more Asian values. We don't have that. We have tall poppy syndrome in this country for a reason, because we don't like people that tread all over other people to get what they want. America is such a cutthroat society where they literally are like, I'm an entrepreneur, like it's a good thing, and they would fucking, stab their own mother to get ahead in life. And that is so frowned upon in Australian society. Like, people say, oh, Australians are too chill, like they don't care about anything. And it's like, yeah, because we save all of our energy for like when our country's on fire or the floods are putting out the fire, because, that's when Australia steps into gear. That's when, we're out there. We've got our volunteers in the RFS, in the CSA. I don't know what they're called in other states, but we love our volunteer firefighters. We love our SES members, always there to help out in a natural disaster. And, we are a land of environmental extremes. And that's what we care about. We care about each other. Our culture is very, very... we might not have a collectivist society in perhaps the way that you would see in East Asia, but compared to like the Anglosphere and the West and the other countries we're lumped in with, I would say we definitely have way more in common with Asia. I really, really, really get annoyed when America want to, like, oh, Australians, they're kind of like, no, we're not like you. We are nothing like you. You disgust us. Disgusting behavior. Get help.
Elaborated in a tweet in which she said much was accomplished at the summit, but because of what's going on in the Middle East, President Trump will be leaving tonight after dinner with heads of state. Now, this obviously has big implications for other leaders, but for Anthony Albanese, it's a huge blow. He was scheduled to hold his first face-to-face meeting with the president tomorrow, local time at Kananaskis, when he'll be attending the summit with the G7 leaders, and has been asked about it all week. It was a highly anticipated meeting. It was only confirmed a couple of days ago, and in the past few days, Mr Albanese has really been elaborating on how he plans to approach the meeting, what he plans to raise. And we know that the two key issues he planned to raise were tariffs and also the future of the AUKUS submarine pact, in light of the Pentagon ordering this snap review of the $368 billion deal. In the Prime Minister's words, we have a lot to talk about, he and Donald Trump. So at this stage, we haven't heard from the Prime Minister's office. It's totally unclear what communication they've had with the White House, because, as you mentioned, only moments before this news broke, we were interviewing the Prime Minister. We were having a doorstop with the Prime Minister at the hotel just beside me, in which he said he was looking forward to this meeting with Donald Trump, and actually went through some of the preparation he's been doing this week in anticipation of it.
Yeah, plans changed quickly, Jane. Donald Trump's reason for leaving early is this conflict between Israel and Iran. Was any progress made on that there?
That's also unclear. As the day has unfolded, Donald Trump's language has strengthened. He said that Iran has to make a deal. He then suggested that Iran was coming to the table and that a deal might indeed be made. So perhaps there are some developments that we are unaware of. And certainly when he was standing alongside UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, both men said that one thing all leaders at the G7 summit were united on was the need for Iran to be depleted of its capacity to develop nuclear weapons. Now, there was also a statement, a draft statement circulating among G7 leaders regarding the escalating conflict in the Middle East. The White House was briefing out that Donald Trump was unlikely to sign that. So again, the status of that statement remains unclear, with Donald Trump leaving the summit early.
Well, I think Iran basically is at the negotiating table where they want to make a deal. I want to see no nuclear weapon in Iran, and we're well on our way to making sure that happens.
I don't want America to have nukes. I think you guys are psycho. I think you guys are unhinged and immoral and have wanton disregard for human life. The same as your boyfriend, Beep. You're the boyfriend, Beep. Beep, 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 beep.
We've had a discussion about that this morning. There's a in the G7 absolute clarity in relation to the nuclear programme. We do not want to see it.
Jane, that grab there. Now, before this news broke, we heard from the Prime Minister, as you said. He seemed positive about the fate of the AUKUS submarine pact.
Yeah, and that is because of another exchange at that very doorstop with Keir Starmer and Donald Trump. A reporter at that doorstop put to the two leaders, is the future of the trilateral AUKUS submarine deal at risk? Do you support the AUKUS submarine deal? Now, Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, who was, of course, a big supporter of the deal, we know that, he answered and said, we both believe it's important. We both stand by this agreement. Now, Donald Trump then interjected and said, we are friends and we are long-standing partners, but it's not entirely clear. It's a bit ambiguous as to whether Donald Trump was talking about his relationship with Keir Starmer, the man standing beside him, or whether he was talking about this agreement between...
If they're going to leave us in the lurch, God, we have lost so much money on these flippin' submarines. Because didn't we just have to cut our losses with the French deal? So we stabbed France in the back, which, like, look, I'm like everyone else on the planet, right? Not a fan of the French. You know, they make a good handbag. We are a girl. We do like a nice, you know, Chanel classic flap. We do like a nice, you know, YSL handbag. We do like a good, you know, we do like the old Louis Vuitton, or as I call him, Louis Vuitton. We are a fan of that. We do appreciate France's contributions to fashion. We will give credit which credit is due. But for the most part, you know, we're not fans. Let's see how much money we lost on that fucking deal. How much monies did Australia lose on French submarine deal? Please tell me. So we have to pay France $830 million with no subs, because we fucked them over on a $90 billion, that's billion dollars. So I guess it's like some type of penalty fee. Sorry, France, we have to pay you 835. Did you see that video of Bridget Macron bitch slapping her husband, the president of France? Dude, that woman is evil. Why would you smack your husband? Why would you smack your significant other? Especially to do it in public like that. Imagine what she does behind closed doors. And she like groomed him when he was at school. They got together when she was like, they met when he was like 14 and she was like in her 40s. What the heck is going on in France? Did they not cook their snails properly? Did they get some type of like brain-eating bacteria in their little skulls. I don't know. Stuff's going on there, I reckon. 835 million. That could buy, I was going to say that could buy some houses. That could buy like 800 houses. But still, that could buy 800 houses for, you know, to help ease the housing crisis. Like, oh dear.
The UK, the US and Australia to deliver 8 nuclear-powered submarines to Australia over the next few decades. However, Anthony Albanese thought it was a positive sign, and he said as much. He obviously was going to be going into the meeting seeking to convince Donald Trump to stay the course on this particular deal, and seemed to suggest that that exchange was a positive sign in his pursuit. Here's what Mr Albanese had to say.
It was very positive, and I've seen the comments that were made. And of course it is in Australia, the United States and the United Kingdom's interest that AUKUS not just proceed in terms of Pillar 1 but Pillar 2 as well. There are great advantages that we have. The sum of 1 + 1 + 1 sometimes equals more than 3, and it certainly does that in this case.
So that's Anthony Albanese there, once again spruiking the benefits of the AUKUS submarine pact, not only to Australia, but to the pursuit of a more stable and peaceful Indo-Pacific region. So at this stage, it's very unclear what is going to be happening regarding Mr Albanese's first meeting with Donald Trump, but he will be going to Kananaskis tomorrow for meetings with other leaders, including the leaders of the UK, Japan and France. So there's still a busy day of diplomacy ahead.
Kananaskis sounds like it's from like an Anne Rice novel. That's where, like, you know, the people that document all like the vampire ancestry. That, I think that was, what was that called? The Telemuskins? I don't know. It sounds like that. That's what it sounds like. Just throwing it out there.
Just not the big ticket item Mr Albanese was hoping to finish off the summit with.
Oh, my cat is back. My cat has decided she's gonna come in here while I stream and be a menace. Okay. Why are you so obsessed with me? Dookie dookie. Alright, we'll look at this and then we're going to ABC had... Do I have it here? Oh yeah, I do have it here. Four Corners did a thing about if Trump fucks us over on AUKUS. Notice how there's no NZ in notice how there's no NZ in AUKUS. How come New Zealand are always just allowed to walk away, but we can't walk away? We are stuck in this toxic relationship. We are forever America's bitch. Like, New Zealand got to walk away and we don't. It's so unfair. Like, why are we... I just don't want it. I'm just over it. Please go away, America. We don't like you. We really don't.
I quote him, everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran, as Iran is warning that a 9th wave of attacks against Israel is now underway and will continue until dawn. This is now the 5th night of attacks between the two countries. And just moments ago, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth posting on social media, and I quote, he said, I directed the deployment of additional capabilities to the Middle East region. So what does that mean? Now we know that the U.S. Navy Nimitz carrier strike group is already heading towards the Middle East right now, and more U.S. naval assets capable of defending against ballistic missiles are expected to be moving into the eastern Mediterranean, closer to Israel in these next coming days. The latest Iranian attacks coming after the IDF released these new images of Israel destroying what it says are 2 Iranian fighter jets. And earlier today, An unbelievable moment unfolded live on Iranian state television. Let me show it to you.
Whoa. Yeah, run, love. Run. Go. Go.
I mean, it's stunning to even watch that. Israel hit the headquarters of Iran state media. Now, the IDF said that this wasn't a mistake. They said it was a precise strike based on intelligence that the building was being used for military purposes. Now, an Iranian source sent me these letters that Iran sent to the Secretary General of the UN and the UN Security Council earlier today, in which Iran demands immediate action following what it calls Israel's, quote, deliberate attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities. And the letter goes on to demand that the UN, quote, hold Israel and its accomplices fully accountable. Now, the accomplices, the use of that word is a very thinly veiled reference to the United States. But while the U.S., of course, backs Israel at this point, clearly the two countries are not entirely on the same page, as sources tell CNN, that President Trump opposed an Israeli plan to assassinate the supreme leader. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu refused to take that option off the table today.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
It's not going to escalate the conflict. It's going
Yeah, it's not. Of course, it's not going to escalate the conflict. God, this guy is. He's one of those people that thinks like he's way smarter than he is. He thinks he's like this Machiavellian genius and he's 5 steps ahead of us. And you know, he's playing 4D chess and we can't see his moves. We don't know what he's doing. He doesn't realize how painfully transparent he is. He doesn't realize. He thinks we don't know. He thinks he's the puppet master. It's actually such low IQ behavior. It's like, I have a family member who's like this, straight up. Like, she would be dangerous if she wasn't so fucking stupid. Same with him. Well, he is. Sorry. When you're the president of a theocratic ethno-state, it is dangerous. He is dangerous. The person I was referring to is just a fuckwit.
Lauren Lieberman is out front in Tel Aviv to begin our coverage. And Oren, what is the latest that you're learning? As we understand it, Iran is saying that missiles will be coming to where you are from now all the way till dawn.
Well, we at least got some sense of that. Just a short while ago, we had to run to the bomb shelter downstairs in the hotel. About 1 hour ago, where we spent 20 minutes there because of warnings of more incoming, including here to Tel Aviv in the heart of Israel. At least
no one
according
cares.
to Israel's emergency responders so far, like
maybe you shouldn't have fired first.
So either those missiles were intercepted or weren't able to strike the targets and hit in either military or residential areas. That being said, it's 2 in the morning here, so there are at least 4 or 5 hours until
go to
dawn,
bed, Jessica.
And we saw missiles incoming at about 4 in the morning last night. So there's very much the potential for more ballistic missiles and more drones as the night goes on here. Meanwhile, as you pointed out, Israel has continued its strikes in Iran and in Tehran. In addition to hitting Iran's state broadcaster, they took out 2 aircraft on the ground and have continued to go after other targets as well. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said so far Israel's strikes against Iran's nuclear facilities have set the nuclear program back many, many years. He wouldn't give a specific number on anything like that, how much they really have damaged the nuclear program. But Israel's former defense minister told CNN earlier today that it was some years that they had set the program back.
Yeah, sounds like a pretext. Sounds like you're just hoping that nobody's going to try and verify. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like a very good pretext to just bomb a country you don't like, try and get something to kick off, and hope that America comes in with, you know, the heavy artillery. We know what you're doing. We know what you're doing. Little puppet of the state over here. Look at his stupid haircut. Sort your life out, mate. Go to Turkey, get a fucking hair transplant. You know, it's very affordable. I'm sure CNN are paying you enough to, you know, I think it's like 5,000 USD or something for a hair transplant. Seriously, just like sort it out. Atrocious. Absolutely atrocious.
Meanwhile, there are rising casualties on both sides, 24 killed so far in Israel. Meanwhile, a much higher death toll in Iran, 224 killed there. And it doesn't look like this is going away anytime soon. Iran has vowed it will not negotiate under attack. Meanwhile, Netanyahu spoke of what he called, quote, complete victory. That is a phrase we've heard in the war in Gaza, which is past 600 days now. And this fight, although it's incredibly early here, shows no sign of an off-ramp right now, no matter what President Donald Trump promises about perhaps finding a way to end this conflict, quote, soon.
All right, Oren, thank you very much. Live in Tel Aviv. We'll be checking back in with you this hour. Out front now, Ophir AUKUS, the Consul General of Israel in New York. And Consul, I really appreciate your time. So,
thank you for
just start with, President Trump had said, okay, he's going to come back from the G7 and he's going to
Hi, Dango. Good to see you.
get this over with. But then he also said Tehran should be evacuated right now. Just to take that statement, that one statement, Tehran should be evacuated right now. Is he right?
I will tell you, 1 hour ago, they fired 10 ballistic missiles toward our civilians. Now they want a ceasefire after almost 50 years of saying that they want to destroy us. Now we, for your question, we will accomplish our two goals: destroy their ballistic missiles and nuclear capability. And that's what we are going to do, even if it will take weeks.
Even if it will take weeks. Okay, so I just want to understand, as everyone wants to understand more on what this means. So ballistic missiles, nuclear program. Let's talk about the nuclear program.
Exactly.
We've got the latest satellite images of Fordow, which of course is one of the main nuclear sites and the one that is at least known to have substantial assets deep underground, which was done in order to prevent Israel from bombing it. It's buried deep in the mountains, 300 feet or more underground, as we understand it. Okay, we understand, analysts keep telling us.
What's that, like 150 meters? Something like that, right?
Is the U.S. that has the so-called bunker buster bombs that have the ability to destroy an asset of that sort, and only the U.S. But I ask you, can Israel destroy the Fordow site and that deep nuclear capability without U.S. help?
First of all, we will not take decisions for the American administration. We will do whatever we can, and we are doing it.
I think Bibi is probably asking Trump for the Moab behind closed doors. Moab is the mother of all bombs. It's like the most powerful explosive device America has that's like non-nuclear. And it could definitely blow an entire mountain up very, very easily. I saw some like soy boy bread tuber on YouTube today saying, oh, Trump's giving an evacuation warning because they're going to nuke Tehran. They're not going to nuke Tehran. They're not going to use a nuclear weapon because you know what happens? The moment the entire world has literally been in a nuclear standoff for like, the better half of a century, essentially. Because we know the first person that drops a nuke, a modern nuclear weapon, the world is gone because everyone else is going to fire them. And that will be the end of humanity. And that's why no one is firing any nukes. They used it on ISIS. Yeah, I believe they did use it on the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. That's what that stands for, right? Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
To prevent the Ayatollahs to hold a nuclear weapon. This is the most dangerous thing to the Western civilization. And I'm talking about this studio, this place, this city as well. So we are trying to do it. We are doing very well until now. We want, first of all, to defend our people from their missiles and from the nuclear weapon plan. This is very dangerous to the world and to Israel as well, and we are doing whatever we can to prevent it.
All right, so I am just curious, though, when your prime minister says that the strikes so far have set back Iran's nuclear program a very, very long time, many, many years.
Exactly, quote.
Why is that not enough?
It's not enough because we suppose that they are trying to progress their plan, even though it's almost a week that we are there during this operation. We are not counting on them. We must be sure that we'll accomplish our two goals, and we are not sure yet about the nuclear sites. We want to be sure about. I suppose that there's more than two, but you mentioned the two of them, and we want to be sure that we'll accomplish our goals, and then we can say, you know, what we can do with the Ayatollahs. We're not talking about the Iranians, Erin. We're talking about the Ayatollahs. That's right, exactly.
Consul, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Raven.
All right, and I want to go now to the former Defense Secretary and CIA Director Leon Panetta. And Director Panetta, you just heard the Consul General there from Israel saying that.
Imagine thinking you have the right to take out another country's head of state. Looking at you, America. Like, fuck me. I couldn't imagine having my head so far up my own ass.
Setting back many years, right? That is not what the goal is. The goal is more than that. They want to get rid of the capability of a nuclear weapon for Iran altogether. And also then he also made a distinction that it was beyond that it was also getting rid of the leadership of Iran, of the Ayatollahs. What do you hear when you hear that?
Well, I hear two goals that are going to be, frankly, difficult to achieve unless the United States goes to war with Israel, which is not likely. But the fact is that to go after their nuclear capability, you've got to be able to go after these deeply buried facilities at Fordo that can only be attacked with busting weapons that the United States has and be delivered by a B-2 bomber. So to totally be able to wipe out their nuclear capability is just not going to happen if it's left to Israel on their own. And with regards to regime change, I think the problem there is that it isn't that easy to achieve in Iran, that you can undermine their command structure, you can go after their nuclear scientists. But the fact is, even if you go after Khomeini, there are going to be other hardliners that will take their place. So I think Israel has to think about just exactly what it is that they're trying to achieve. If they're trying to weaken Iran, that's an achievable goal. Beyond that, I think it's going to be difficult.
So specifically regarding the Ayatollahs, and let's just talk about the supreme leader, right? The leading Ayatollah, Khamenei. And Prime Minister Netanyahu said killing him would not escalate the conflict. It said he would, quote, end the conflict.
He's a special type of man, is old Bibi Netanyahu. What's his original surname? It's not Netanyahu. It's like all these people have changed their names from like the European, typically Polish sounding names to try and sound like they were ever indigenous to the Palestinian region. His name is not Bibi Netanyahu. His name is like Peter Solinsky or something. It's not, but it's something like that.
It sounds like you disagree with that assessment.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that getting rid of Khomeini is not going to suddenly result in regime change. That's the bottom line. You're talking about the Quds Force. You're talking about a lot of hardline commanders that are still very active in Iran. And the fact is, the more Israel bombs...
Milikowski? Yeah. God. Absolute state of some people.
Iran, the more the Iranian people will be concerned about trying to protect their own Iran against Israel. So when you look at all of these other factors, the bottom line is that achieving regime change is not easy to do, cannot be done simply by killing Khomeini, and frankly cannot be done simply by the kind of missile attacks that are going on right now.
Bow, bow, bow. We don't want you, lady. Go away.
Well, the Israeli
No,
Prime Minister Benjamin
I told you to shut your mouth. Thank you. I'm so aggressive tonight. All right. What happens if Trump pulls out of AUKUS? And again, New Zealand, how come you just got to exit the scene? Why are we stuck in this abusive or one-sided relationship with America? It's so unfair. New Zealand just gets to walk away.
It's the biggest defence deal in Australia's history.
Wow.
The $368 billion AUKUS nuclear submarine program.
I have never seen a major defense program executed on time. We have so many challenges with this.
This will be probably the most complex engineering feat in the world.
So you don't think we're going to get these Virginia-class submarines?
I think it'll be a miracle, quite frankly.
Yeah, I like that guy. He knows what's up.
I'm very confident we have the wherewithal to build at the rate necessary and
No, you
to
don't.
fulfill our obligations.
Couldn't organize a route in a brothel, mate. Couldn't.
But there are warnings that Australia has signed up to a dud deal, with our AUKUS allies holding all the cards.
They can walk away from it. No penalties, no refunds.
And now the Trump administration has opened the possibility of sinking the entire deal, ordering a review into the AUKUS agreement with Australia.
On Four Corners, we travelled to the United
Well, I just ordered a review into Pine Gap and all your fuckwit soldiers that you have allegedly, possibly assaulting young Australian women in the Northern Territory. All of your military infrastructure that you have in Australia. Yeah, I've just decided, you know, Panda, Queen of Australia, I have decided that it's time for them to go floating off into the Indian and Pacific and Southern Oceans. That's what I've decided because, you know, sometimes it be like that.
United Kingdom and the United States to investigate whether the AUKUS submarine deal will be delivered, or whether it could rise or fall on the whims of a US president who hasn't ruled out military force to get Greenland, who calls Canada the 51st US state, who's embraced Russia and shunned Europe, and who slapped tariffs on long-time allies, including Australia. So will AUKUS survive Donald Trump's upending of the global geopolitical order?
Australia has reason to be concerned whether or not the strong partnership between the US and Australia will remain.
It's pronounced
I can see why people are asking
Australia,
questions.
not
Hey, what the heck is going on
Australia.
here?
Thank you.
And in this more
Get
uncertain,
help.
Trump-dominated world, will Australia be left stranded and out of pocket?
What is the worst case scenario for Australia with AUKUS?
No submarines at all. It's an expensive illusion.
Shout out to my dad who called this straight away. He was like, America don't have the capabilities, they don't have the skill set to make the submarines. He's like, this is never gonna happen. Like, just leave it with the French. They know what they're doing. Yada, yada, yada. My dad said this exact thing would happen and we would be up shit creek. And look, we are in a precarious situation, and we're in a precarious situation because of America, because we can't have good relations with our neighbors because America won't let us be friends with China. Why can't we be friends with China? It's a new century. We don't like you. We don't like you, America. Americans always seem to be shocked when they find out like how high anti-American sentiment is amongst Australians. Like, just don't even fucking get me started. Connecticut. It is very beautiful. I will say that. It is very beautiful. Like, I do, you know, Australia's obviously a very unique landscape, but because, you know, I'm so used to the rugged beauty of Australia, obviously a lot of eucalypts, you know, we've got rainforest, we've got like all these diverse ecosystems, some of them completely unique to Australia, but I just find like basic bitch like North American and European forests so beautiful, like oak trees, things like that. Oh my god, they're just so beautiful because like they're so exotic to me. I'm like, ooh, so exotic. But obviously the best tree is the Moreton Bay fig. Fight me if you don't agree. They're beautiful, and I have one near my house. Yay!
I'm in Connecticut in the northeast of the United States, and I'm heading to a place called Groton. Now, Groton is synonymous with submarine building in the United States. In fact, at one point during World War II, they were producing one submarine every 2 weeks in Groton. Now, 80 years on from that, Groton is still crucial, not just to AUKUS, but also to Australia acquiring its first ever nuclear-powered attack submarine.
This does feel like, you know, you could be a really hot witch that like lives in one of these houses. Like, you know, maybe like in Practical Magic or one of like, America does have some really pretty houses, I will say. I will give you guys that. You do have some really pretty, I especially love like the Gothic, like Victorian houses. You always like see them being advertised, like the ones that are in disrepair. They're very affordable, but I'm sure they probably cost heaps to do it. And I would never live in America, so don't know why I'm talking about it. But they are very cool. I am a fan of that. It does look very pretty in this region of the world.
It may be the self-proclaimed submarine capital of the world, but this coastal community has a problem. It's struggling to find the thousands of skilled workers it needs, a dilemma that could have serious implications for Australia. At this technical school in Groton, students like 18-year-old Coleman Sharp are learning the skills needed to build some of...
No, you're not building my submarine. You're not building... Not somebody that learnt welding at some dodgy trade school. Sorry, I don't want you... I don't want Australian kids being sent to the bottom of the ocean in a metal coffin, lying at the seabed for eternity because old mate fuckface over here couldn't fucking weld a seam to save his fucking life. Get fucked.
Of the world's most complex machines.
Wanted to weld on submarines. My dad was in the Navy for 20 years.
I don't care.
It's hard not to feel a little sense of patriotism with it, because I mean, it's nuclear defense. It's keeping the country safe, keeping the world safe.
Watching the training today is Democratic Congressman Joe.
I wonder if he has lupus. He seems to have a molar rash. Just putting it out there. If you ever see this, go get a blood test and like get your ANA and like your ESR and all of that looked at. Because you could have an autoimmune disease if you're always getting flushed around that area. I know he's just been welding and had a mask on, but like heat seems to kick it off. This is what I've found personally.
Courtney, who is co-chair of Congress's Friends of Australia caucus and whose district takes in the Groton submarine yard. It's one of only 2 yards in America that builds the Virginia-class nuclear-powered attack submarine. With the United States desperate to ramp up production, the race is on to enlist and train more workers in this highly specialised industry.
A couple of folks that we've heard from today, when they walked in the door here, they had never touched a welding torch in their life. One was a butcher, Another one was a UPS driver that was doing deliveries. And 6 weeks into the program.
Meanwhile, we could have had experienced people in France building these for us, and we already had... Oh my god. Okay, calm down, Panda. Just deep breath, deep breath. I know you want to punch everyone. Sometimes we have to be ladylike and not punch people in the face. All right, let's calm down.
Program now, they're already getting qualified in terms of really smart ways to get their skill up to a level that is safe for them to go into a shipyard.
Under the first phase, or Pillar 1 of the AUKUS agreement between Australia, the US and the UK, Canberra will acquire at least 3 American Virginia-class submarines. The first due to arrive in 2032, with others
That's not
to follow.
happening. That is not happening.
They will replace
Could you at least find some
diesel-powered
experienced
Collins-class
welders,
subs
please? Holy shit.
and will give Australia a nuclear-powered attack weapon that can sail further and faster, stay underwater much longer, and pack more strike power and stealth.
Pretty much anything that is on the surface of the ocean these days or that flies in the air is detectable and targetable.
Here you go. I've got an idea. Anthony Albanese, tear up AUKUS, tell America to go fuck itself. We take our Australia has some of the greatest scientific minds in the world. They all had to leave Australia because of the brain drain, but we can bring them back. We have uranium. We have plenty of uranium in the Northern Territory. We set up our own nuclear program. We kick the Yanks out. We set up our own nuclear program. We just make a bunch of nukes and we just have nukes. Now Australia's just got some nukes. Now who's gonna fuck with us? No one. There you go. Problem solved, guys. I know this is never gonna happen. And I know there's a million reasons why and yada yada yada, and we have to be careful because our best friend America doesn't have our best interests at heart at all. So it's never gonna happen. But in Panda's world of diplomacy, that's what's happening. Australia's just sitting here now with all the minerals and all the nukes, and we're saying, yeah, we're happy to be friends with everybody, but you wanna try us? You wanna go, mate? You wanna have a fucking go? I'll fucking show you. And that's, maybe that's the way it would play out in Panda's world of geopolitics. That's my diplomatic solution to Australia's current predicament. There you go. Do you like that? I just solved all the problems.
Environment that is,
because we don't even have to go to all this effort to try and acquire uranium and yada yada yada. We just, we've got enough mining equipment. It's how long would it take? I reckon you could dig up a lump of uranium, throw it into the local university pub and go, the local uni bar, like maybe the Manning bar at Sydney Uni, just throw a lump of uranium in there and go, boys, I will pay your tab for the year if you guys can enrich this uranium. And they'll be like, yeah. And you'll just have a bunch of STEM kids fucking doing your work for you. Because you're like, yeah, beers on me, kids. And then, you get some post-grad kids and you're like, I will pay, the beers will be on me for the next 10 years if you can, create some ballistic missiles with nuclear heads. They'll be like, yeah, they'll do it. Look, this is the beer economy, guys. This is the Australian beer stem economy. It's all gonna play out. You just gotta trust in the vision. I have seen it. The God spoke to me in my dreams. It's all gonna happen, guys. This is we don't even have to spend money on it. We've just got to spend beer on it. And we all know how much our beer is you know, jacked up price. Like the government, they can get the beer for cost. You know, we're just throwing beers at the boys. It's all gonna work out. Or maybe the girls. There are some girls in STEM. You know, we want to represent the STEM girlies too. They can, you know, if they want to drink their bitch drinks, you know, if you want to get a chick drink, that's fine. You know, sometimes I like a bit of a girly drink sometimes. I usually will drink beer, but sometimes I will have, you know, a vodka raspberry or something like that. But we can chuck in some vodka raspberry, some tequila sunrises, you know, we can do it.
Almost impenetrable still to detection technology is the undersea environment. And that's where the Virginia-class submarine comes into its own.
Watermelon cruises are unironically delicious. Okay, I love watermelon sand. I love watermelon flavored stuff. Watermelon Chupa Chups, #1. We love them. The thing is though, like the calories in there's so much sugar in cruises. The calories aren't worth it. Although I think I saw in the boatload last time I was there, I think I saw that they had like a sugar-free one. Or like, obviously not 0 calories because vodka has fucking calories, unfortunately. I would 100% be an alco if 1, vodka was cheap, and 2, it had no calories. But we're into anorexia makes you sexier on the Pandadora show, so that's how we live our lives. I'm just joking, by the way. I'm just joking. But I am an avid calorie counter, I will say that.
They are an incredible submarine. How they can operate in a very stealthy mode, their range, their lethality. There's nothing like them on the face of the earth. So they are feared by everybody around.
Republican Congressman Rob Whitman's district is next door to the other Virginia-class submarine building yard in Newport, Virginia. While proud of America's submarine capability, the congressman acknowledges that the gap is closing in the undersea arms race, and the US needs to lift its game.
Virginia-class is key. Unfortunately, right now, the United States is only building them at a rate of 1.2 per year. We need to be building them at a rate of 2.3 per year in order to meet our requirement of the number of submarines we have, but also to meet our obligation to be able to sell the first several submarines to Australia to kick off Australia's effort in the nuclear submarine realm.
You mentioned that build rate of 1.2
Yes.
Virginias per year. Why has it stalled at that rate?
It's really about workforce. The industry has struggled post-COVID to put the workforce back together.
For the United States, the AUKUS alliance is about countering what it sees as the biggest single threat to its global dominance. A growing Indo-Pacific superpower that is also building up its nuclear submarine capability at a faster rate than the Americans.
China has engaged in the largest peacetime buildup of its military, really in human history. We've never seen anything quite like this.
For 4 years, Jake Sullivan was the United States National Security Advisor under then-President Joe Biden, privy to Washington's most classified secrets and its war plans. He was also America's security czar when the AUKUS agreement was forged in 2021.
AUKUS is important strategically. It sends a clear message that the US, Australia, and the United Kingdom are going to pull together to send a common message of deterrence to the region. Second,
It's our region. It's Australia's region. It's all very good for like these fucking North Atlantic cunts to whatever. Have you spoken to Australians? Do you know how many Australians are Asian? A lot of us. A lot of us are Asian. And we love our Asian Australians. And we don't have this xenophobic, racist bullshit. Many Australians have many Asian friends. Even in rural places now, there's like Asian Australians. Why can't we be friends with our neighbors? Like, stop fucking with us. We are a sovereign nation and we want our right to self-determination. Just fucking stop it and leave us alone. Some Australians even have some white friends. Yeah, I've got like 2 white friends. Unless I'm like in a Smeagol situation, I can like count myself. If like we have a Smeagol Gollum situation, then I can count myself and I would have like three white friends. But yeah, Australia's a very multicultural country, and obviously like our geographical position, our closest neighbor is Indonesia. Like, why can't we be friends with our neighbors? You know, one of the longest running shows on Australian television is called Neighbours, and it's all about being friends with your fucking neighbours. Stop ruining our culture. Also, they gave us Margot Robbie, so a little bit iffy on that, but also gave us Kylie. So, by the way, did you see what Margot Robbie is doing to Wuthering Heights as a goth girl? Absolutely disgusting behavior. Disavow. You suck. You and your little production company can go freaking... Ugh. Anyway, I'm not going to get started on that. That is a side rant for another fucking day. Let's go.
And it's important operation.
No, they're making she's not a singer. They're making a movie adaptation of Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. And oh my goodness, she's playing Kathy. She's playing a character that died at 19 years old. Okay, she's playing a character that died at 19 years old. Margot Robbie looked 45 at 19. Like, what is happening? What is happening? And now that she is like 30, I don't know, somewhere in her 30s, I don't know, because she lies about her age. Yeah, she's playing a character that dies at age 19 and is famously, you know, raven-haired. Yeah, okay. She didn't even dye her hair. She didn't even dye her hair for the role. Okay, let's calm down. Let's calm down. Oh, and the photos that have leaked, the costumes aren't even the right historical era. Like all that, you know, all the girlies on YouTube that like they have the like historical fashion channels, they've all like ripped the costumes to shreds because like the dresses aren't era appropriate at all. Anyway, let's get back to AUKUS we were talking about. But yeah,
additionally, having another ally in the water with us with this capability expands our ability.
We're not
to deal
your
with any
ally. We hate you. You just
to ensure that message.
Every time we try and stand up to you, you stage a coup. Is that something you do to your friends? Is that something you do to your friends? Removing our democratically elected leaders? Is that something you do to a friend? Is it America? It's not. That's not something you do to a friend. You are dickheads. Look at this, Mal. I'm gonna bring phrenology back because all of these people have malformed skulls. I'm just putting it out there. We've got, you know, it's just not giving. Where are the cheekbones? They're not popping.
Is translated into actual deterrence to try to avert and prevent conflict going forward.
Earlier this year, China sent a clear message to Australia and to Washington when it sent a naval flotilla to conduct live fire exercises off our coast, something it is legally entitled to do. The flotilla then circumnavigated the country on its way home.
I think that they're expressing themselves as a blue water power. They're making it quite clear that they have the capability and the endurance to operate across the Indo-Pacific, and I expect we'll see more of it.
I think it should be a wake-up call that so to speak, the playing field has expanded both geographically and in terms of the types of undertakings and activities the Chinese military will pursue in the years ahead.
China wants everybody to know that they are no longer a regional power, that they are a world power, and that they can sustain their fleet away from the South China Sea.
AUKUS really is designed to be prepared to counter Chinese aggression.
Christopher Miller was the acting US Defense Secretary in the dying days of the first Trump administration.
Probably putting you on the spot here, but...
Go ahead, let's go. Come on, give me the hard ones, Mark. Let's go.
Christopher Miller believes the recent Chinese circumnavigation of Australia would not have happened if Canberra had been armed with the world's most sophisticated naval weapon, the Virginia-class nuclear-powered submarine.
Just so you know, Australia is involved in joint operations near Chinese waters. This isn't like to act like, oh, China's just decided to do this all out of the blue, like we're always up in their region of the world doing stuff. So, I mean, you know, fair play. If you want to dish it out, you got to be able to take it. It's the way it goes in the playground. The playground of the 7 seas. Let's go.
I think it would be a huge deterrent if you imagine you're the admiral that's running the Chinese Communist Party flotilla around Australia, and all of a sudden you now have to think about, wait a second, there's something I can't find, I can't see, I can't hear that could be in my midst. That creates an entirely different dilemma for him. And that's really what we're talking about, is creating strategic dilemmas for the Chinese Communist Party.
But to do that, the United States has to solve a seemingly intractable dilemma of its own. It's simply not building enough Virginia-class submarines for its own fleet, let alone enough to supply Australia.
You think AUKUS, it needs to speed up? There needs to be a bit more action?
That's where I am on the thing. Again, like wonderful, wonderful initiative, but I feel like we're moving too slow. And I think probably most of that's on the United States side, to be perfectly honest with you.
Well, talking of going slow, do you think the production rate is good enough?
No. The problem is we don't have
To
the
put it
workforce,
plainly,
the welders, the skilled machinists that are required.
How concerned are you about that production rate and the fact that it doesn't seem to be accelerating?
Yeah, I'm very concerned about it. I mean, it's a huge challenge that we have. It's a big part of the reason why we're trying to develop more partners in the world so that we can up our industrial capacity by growing it beyond U.S. borders. But we also have to improve it domestically. We need to hire the workforce.
Adam Smith is the ranking Democratic member on the US House of Representatives Armed Services Committee, which oversees the Department of Defense and America's nuclear submarine program. The US Navy has a stated goal of establishing a submarine attack fleet of 66. Right now, it's about 17 boats short of that target.
What impact is that going to have potentially on the AUKUS deal and delivering those Virginias on time?
It puts pressure on it, and no question about it. But I'm hoping that the AUKUS deal will also put pressure the other way. It'll put pressure to solve that problem.
This is a problem the United States needs to overcome in a matter of a few years. Because under the AUKUS agreement, Washington is expected to deliver the first Virginia-class submarine to Australia in the early 2030s.
The reality is that they're not going to make it.
Oh, that looks like the Mornington Peninsula, I'm gonna guess.
Former Rear Admiral Peter Briggs spent 40 years in the Australian Navy, rising to command this country's submarine squadron.
The US
freaking cold beaches, by the way. Don't go to Mornington Peninsula if you want to have a relaxing
and so instead
dip.
of producing 2 standard Virginias a year, they've produced 1.1, 1.2 over the last 5 years. And so the shipyards are now full of partly built submarines. They're now requiring those same shipyards to produce 1 Columbia-class ballistic missile submarine, which is 2.5 times the size of a standard Virginia.
So, put simply,
the Americans will not have enough of their own attack class submarines to spare any for Australia.
Quite correct. It's high, very, very high risk.
Rye is good if you have kids. No, because it's the Southern Ocean and the water is freezing. I'm sorry, how do you people swim? Victorians are just weirdos. Like, why would you want to swim in Antarctica water? There's literally penguins in the water. Think about it, okay? Think about it. I'm against it. I am a Pacific Ocean girly. I am an East Australian current girly. I like those warm tropical waters, menaging with the New South Wales waters. You know, we're all getting freaky out here in the ocean. It's fun, it's delicious, the surf is good, everything's great. The stonefish don't come all the way down to New South Wales, you weirdo. They're pretty much stuck on the ocean floor. You have to like go to Cairns or something to tread on one of those. If you're up there like fanging around, then I guess you're gonna find out, aren't you?
Also have to retire the older Los Angeles class, and so I don't think they'll be able to replace the boats retiring.
We don't have box jellyfish either. These are all like far north Queensland. I don't know where you're getting this information from. We have like blue bottles, but I've been stung by blue bottles a few times. It's just like, ow. And then you put some vinegar on it and whatever. Like, my big fat Czech grandpa used to walk along the beach and pop them with his toes. It was great fun. And then we used to go get pippies. Oh, childhood memories.
Build up to the numbers that they want, as well as offering us the submarines that they would like to offer us.
So you don't think we will get these Virginia-class submarines?
I think it'll be a miracle, quite frankly.
You're talking about the nation that put the man on the moon, right? I think you underestimate them.
No, the nation that put a man on the moon was actually Germany. And let's have a look. Let's do Panda's backing time adventures. It's called Operation Paperclip NASA. This guy should have been tried for war crimes at Nuremberg, but he was not. Operation Paperclip was a secret US intelligence program that brought over 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians to the United States after World War II. War criminals, by the way. I can't stress these people enough. These people were Nazis and war criminals. Its primary goal was to acquire German scientific expertise, particularly in rocketry and related technologies, to bolster US capabilities during the emerging Cold War and prevent these resources from falling into the hands of the Soviet Union or other nations. A prominent figure in the program was Werner von Braun, who played a key role in developing the rockets that launched America's first satellite and became a leading figure in NASA. He's essentially the man. He essentially, you know, put a man on the moon. I'm going to start singing that REM song. If you believe they put a man on the moon, man on the moon. Du, 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 du. Du, 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 du. Anyway, the word everyone likes to throw around today that just means somebody that slightly disagrees with me, the Nazi word. Yeah, America actually saved a bunch of Nazis. Moral country, guys. A moral country. There you go.
At your peril.
If the American Virginias don't arrive on time, or at all, Australia could be left with what's called a capability gap, or no submarines at all. Because our decades-old Collins-class submarines are struggling to stay afloat. They were due to be retired next year, but are now being given life extensions to ensure Australia has some form of submarine capability.
So we'll get that Virginia-class submarine, that first submarine, on time.
I don't want
2032.
Virgin-class submarines. I want
United
Chad
States Navy's
submarines.
job.
I want the submarines that get a lot of pussy, okay? I don't want Virgin submarines, okay? I want based Chad submarines. I don't trust things from Virginia.
Set the conditions to enable that to succeed.
Bow, bow, bow.
The
Oh,
Australians
make out,
have
make
another
out.
reason to be hopeful the Americans
boo.
will deliver.
That seemed very
Because we've
homoerotic.
already handed over the
I
first
thought they were
down
gonna make
payment on
out.
the Virginia-class
I got
subs deal.
excited.
The Defence Minister, Richard Marles, delivering $800
Oh, there's
million.
K-Rod. There's K-Rod. Kevin 07, baby. Let's go.
To the Trump administration earlier this year.
And we really understand the importance of building our capability, but in paying our way. I mean, that is a very important principle that we bring to bear.
It's the first of 6 of these payments designed to boost the capability of the struggling US submarine industry and get subs rolling off the production line.
I just want to thank you. So put it bluntly,
Yes.
Australia will get those Virginia-class submarines.
With every fibre of our being, yes.
And on time.
And on time, yes. Yeah, that's what we're pressing the gas pedal to get done now.
But under the AUKUS deal, the cards are stacked heavily in Washington's favour. And Australia could lose everything it has bet on these nuclear subs.
Ducks. Oh, baby ducks.
If they see that the AUKUS program is impacting on their capability, they can walk away from it. No penalties, no refunds. That's it.
Why would we ever sign a contract like that? So moronic. And it's because we know we can't. They would even probably oust the Prime Minister over refusing to sign such a one-sided treaty. Like, this is what we're dealing with. We call them our friends. Do friends treat people like that? Like, if you had a friend that treated you like that in real life, would you just straight up ghost them? 100% you would. Or you would, like, have a few drinks and go, hey, mate, you're a fucking asshole. Fuck off. Don't ever fucking talk to me again. Like, you're a bully. No one likes you. Fucking go home.
Under the United States' own AUKUS legislation, the President has to declare to Congress that any transfer of Virginia-class submarines will not degrade America's undersea capabilities. Otherwise, the deal is off.
So we lose our money and we don't get any submarines.
Correct. That's the deal we've signed up to.
We're in this program because of a political decision made by 3 nations. So I'm not going to speculate on what future administrations may or may not choose to do. I'll leave the politics to the politicians. At this moment, we have very, very clear direction from the Australian government.
Wait, does he have 2 dolphins making out on his... you can't see it because I'm in the way. Can I move out of the way? No, move. Yeah, can you see that? That's like 2 dolphins making out with like a crown on top of it. I want a badge with... I want a military badge with 2 dolphins making out. That's sick. It's like not very menacing, but it's kind of kawaii. We like it. We like to see it around here.
To execute this program to make it work, make it succeed.
Does the US have quite a few little get-out-of-jail-free cards here?
If the US woke up one day and decided it wasn't going to follow through on AUKUS, could it do that? In reality, yes, of course. But then what that's missing is the basic idea of trust and the logic of the deal. And if you have trust between allies, and you have...
We don't have trust. You bully us. We're too scared to say no to you because we know what you do when we say no to you. And this isn't a friendship. This isn't an allyship. This is an abusive relationship. Coercive control. It's against the law now in Australia. And America is our shitty boyfriend who needs to get punched in the face. Okay?
Logic of the AUKUS deal
Bullies.
that says this is good for us, then you're going to stay in it.
Do you fear that a president in the future could veto the transfer of the Virginia-class subs because of that degradation clause in the legislation?
Mark, it's always a possibility. I honestly am more concerned about the Australian government because the politics of this relationship still are fraught. And we're seeing, what I'm seeing is, and quite rightly so, is some concern that it is a huge commitment of resources by the Australian people.
And Four Corners can reveal
yeah,
that
and
the
we
Trump
didn't agree to
administration
it,
has
okay?
been asking
The Australian
questions,
people didn't.
specifically about this country's ability to operate nuclear-powered submarines.
They have questions. It's a new administration. We are working through the detail of those questions and providing them the evidence, fact-based driven evidence to support the optimal pathway.
What sort of questions are they asking you?
Oh, they're asking us questions. Are we ready? Are we ready on the infrastructure? For instance, a good question would be, are you ready to support nuclear-powered submarines? And we say, yes, we are. We are on track.
Nuclear submarines are coming to Australia regardless of whether the Americans can supply them or not. Because under an agreement with Washington, the US will get to operate their nuclear subs out of HMAS Sterling off Perth from as early as 2027.
No. Veto. I veto. No. Putting my foot down.
So the government is investing.
I'm putting my foot down. No. Look, I've got the plan to make the nukes. Okay, I've got the plan to make the nukes. We're just going to bring some kegs down to the roundhouse at UNSW. We're going to find the STEM boys. We're going to bring some kegs to the Manning Bar at Sydney Uni. We're going to find, we're just going to hit all the group of 8 unis. We're going to find the STEM boys and we're going to just give them lumps of uranium. I'm going to drive up to the Northern Territory this weekend, guys. I'm going to dig up the uranium and I've got it. Like, I can do this. I can get Australian nukes for just the cost of a few years, like the cost of running a pub for a year. I can do it. You have to trust the plan. We're QAnon around here. We've got to trust the plan. Pandora's plan for making Australia a nuclear power. We don't even have to go through all this clandestine bullshit of getting uranium through the back channels. We can literally just drive down some random dirt road, pull over, pick up a rock. Is this uranium? Yeah, that looks pretty yellow. Yeah, cool. Stick it in the back of the ute. Let's fucking go. And that's it. That's all we have to do. Guys, I know people think that geopolitics and diplomacy is hard, but look, I just solved all of our problems. Let's go.
$8 billion into HMAS Sterling. And then from the early 2030s, we will be operating from that base with our own Virginias.
It's incredibly important to be able to have an operating base away from home where you can sustain the submarine, where you can go there and do some interim repair work, where you can replenish the submarine. Those things are incredibly important.
You're saying that AUKUS potentially is win-win-win for the Americans. They could get to keep their submarines, they get to keep our money, and they get somewhere to base their submarines at HMAS Sterling.
What's not to like about it?
Everything.
The Australian government and the Defence Force reject any suggestion Canberra is ceding any sovereignty to Washington.
Terminology is important here. It won't be an American base.
This is an Australian base. HMAS Sterling, emphatically an Australian base. America absolutely recognises this. We'll have US submarines operating out of there.
Do you think he has an American lubed up fist up his rectum right now? Blink twice if you do. We'll help you. We will help you. We will send in the troops to remove the fist from your bum bum.
But rotating.
A US Congressional Research Service report released this year floated the prospect that if the Virginia-class aren't handed over, an alternative scenario is the US sailing its own submarines out of HMAS Sterling, essentially relegating Australia to nothing more than a forward operating garrison.
Vassal state, that's what it's called.
We won't have any sovereign submarine capability at all. We might have submariners at sea, but they'll be in other navies' boats.
American boats.
American boats.
Their proposition is we basically give away our submarine capability. You're totally dependent on that other country as to what they do with the submarine, and your people get taken along with it.
America has proven time and time and time again it is not trustworthy. They don't respect us. They don't respect our right to determination. They don't respect Australia's right to have the Prime Minister that the Australian people overwhelmingly voted for. They're constantly meddling in our affairs. They can fuck off. Like, this is such a one-sided relationship. Can fuck right off. I've had enough. Like, I've had enough. And did you... that thing on Instagram that's like Twitter, that Fred's thing, it always like recommends me like people's tweets. I'm just going to call them tweets because I don't know what they're called. And it's all these people, oh, I'm moving to Australia, or I just got my working visa for Australia. It's all these Americans moving here. We don't want you. Go home. We don't like you. Australia has a housing shortage, and there are Australian families sleeping in tents in parks. We don't want you here. Leave. If I hear your accent in the supermarket, I'm going to throw down. No, I probably won't. I'm actually really small. God made me really small because otherwise I would be starting shit with everyone left, right, and center because I'm, yeah. I get called a little firecracker a lot. I do go off. I am quite explosive sometimes. But yeah, if I hear someone overemphasizing their R's in the supermarket, it's on. It's on for young and old, baby. Let's go.
But that could be quite uncomfortable.
Only if you're smaller than me.
Scenarios.
For example.
I do feel like I could fight a child, like an 11 or 12-year-old child. I feel like I could win. I feel like I could win that fight.
Well, if the Americans got tangled up with China over Taiwan.
Correct.
Former United States National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan rejects the notion that AUKUS is some clever plan designed to lock Australia into future American adventures or conflicts.
Going at this on the notion that somehow it's a bit of a trick by the United States, which is kind of what the argument about sovereignty is. The Americans are luring us into something and then they'll spring the trap if there's a contingency, I think misses the point of why we want to see this happen.
That's what you would say.
Strategic.
When you're springing a trap, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm on to you, mate. Oh, I know what's going on.
A clear message of deterrence. It's about the operational level, and then it's about the technological level and the work we can do together to advance the ball. We're straight up about all that.
The man chosen by President Trump as his Undersecretary of Defense for Policy has been staunch in his opposition to transferring any Virginia-class submarines to Australia.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished members of the Armed Services Committee.
Last year, before his elevation to the Pentagon, Elbridge Colby told the ABC that such a move would weaken American strike power.
It would be crazy for the United States to give away its single most important asset for conflict with China over Taiwan. We have fewer attack submarines than we need, than we've had in many years. It's not getting better anytime soon.
Well, listen, we're not giving them away. I mean, we are putting them in the hands of our friends in Australia.
We're not your friends. We don't like you.
Rob
You're
Whitman
an abusive boyfriend that won't let us leave the house.
Locks Canberra in even...
And isolated us from our friends and family, our neighbours in the Asia Pacific. That's what you are.
Closer to US strategic interests.
I mean, to me, that's a lever. That's where we can leverage the ability.
It's a
for
lever,
Australia
not
to
a
do
lever.
more in partnership.
Speak English or go
That's,
home.
Force multiplier
Loser.
for the United States and our friends in that region of the world. So I would argue that, you know, we're not giving them away.
But many worry that the biggest threat to the AUKUS submarine deal could be the unpredictability of the man now in the White House. Donald Trump's administration is demanding Australia boost its defence spending. Now, it's blindsided its AUKUS allies, announcing a review into the deal and if it aligns with Trump's America First agenda, questioning whether the US can build enough subs for itself, let alone Australia. And the person leading the review, the Under-Secretary of Defence and AUKUS skeptic.
So you took our money, you're taking our money, you made us sign a treaty in bad faith, knowing that you could never deliver the goods, leaving us in the fucking lurch while simultaneously not allowing us to have relations with our neighbors. Like, that's not something you do to a friend. It's not something you do. You've put us in an untenable position. And the sooner we stand up to you, the better. Just pull the Band-Aid off.
Despite the review into AUKUS, Trump's close Republican allies say the deal fits perfectly with the president's strategic priorities.
If you look at it, he wants to do everything we can to deter China. He wants a greater strategic capability in the region. He wants us to make sure that we have more operational opportunities there with our friends in the region. Every single one of these things aligns exactly with what AUKUS is going to do.
While we are in Washington, there is a protest against President Donald Trump and his administration.
What's happening in this country?
We are losing our democracy.
What do you think Donald Trump's done to America's international reputation?
I would say if you make Canada mad, that's pretty tough.
What do you think Donald Trump's done to the United States' international reputation?
He has trampled on it.
Many of Washington's long-term friends around the world are also troubled by the current US president's erratic approach to foreign policy.
I tried to change the name of the stream to America with Mates Like This, but it wouldn't let me, and I don't know if I'm in trouble with Twitch because it's not letting me do much. Well, AUKUS is all pre-Trump. And look, honestly, I'm totally fine with Trump making America isolationist country. I'm very happy for America to put America first. As long as they leave us the fuck alone, I'm very, very happy. Like, that's fine. If Trump wants to burn all these bridges, that's very good because that's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I want for my country.
Australia has been one of Washington's closest and most enduring allies for decades, fighting alongside the US in intractable wars from Vietnam to Afghanistan and Iraq. But in the era of Donald Trump, shared battles, spilled blood and enduring loyalty doesn't mean any favourable treatment.
Well, therein lies the fly in the ointment. The Trump administration.
I'm using Streamlabs multi-stream, I think. I think I tried to change it with the OBS. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's fine. It's I can very easily change the name on YouTube and Kick like afterwards. It's fine because sometimes I don't know how long I'm going to talk about a topic, but obviously US-Australian relationships are something I've been, going on about for a while now. Probably gonna finish this video and go to bed because no one seems to be up tonight except for my one and only best friend and mod Hyperbovian, always here to banter. We like it. It's good.
Is unpredictable in this regard and worrisome in many respects. Their contempt for allies and partners has the potential not just to undermine the AUKUS agreement, but to undermine the very national security of the United States of America. You know, I cannot possibly be critical enough of the way the Trump administration has treated our partners and allies since they were elected. It's bullying, it's idiotic.
I think this is a great source of alarm. The direction of travel right now is quite disturbing.
The European Union's it was formed in order to screw the United States. We're flying over a thing called the Gulf of America. Look, what I'd like to see, Canada become our 51st state. I call him Governor Trudeau.
Oh my God.
Look, I don't think this is just a joke either. I mean, I'm not worried about an invasion of Canada tomorrow, but there's something kind of deeply serious about this idea of territorial acquisition. I'm not sure that he's looking for territory down under. So, you know, not to make light of it, but, you know, you
think
might,
we're safe?
You might not have to worry in that regard, but I can see why people are asking questions. Hey, what the heck is going on here? This isn't right.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. The Panama Canal was given foolishly years ago. We're going to take it back or something very powerful is going to happen.
Threatening Denmark that we're going to invade Greenland, threatening Panama, threatening Canada, slapping tariffs.
Denmark has an Australian queen, by the way. Yes, the Queen of Denmark is an Aussie, Mary Donaldson from Tassie, who met the Prince Frederick, now the King of Denmark, at a pub called the Slip Inn in Sydney during the 2000 Olympics. Why do I know this stuff? Because I always read the headlines on Women's Day when I'm at the checkout, guys. And that's how, because those magazines are expensive. You know, I just need the headline. It usually gives it away.
On every single country in the world, save, I guess, Russia. It's really stupid.
What does that mean for Australia? Are we guaranteed to remain a long-standing trusted ally of the United States under Donald Trump?
Australia has reason to be concerned whether or not the strong partnership between the U.S. and Australia will remain.
It's so good for us. It's so good for Australia as a nation if we are no longer friends with America. It's actually amazing for us. It's actually something that we should celebrate. It's a falling empire anyway. The sun is setting on the American empire. It's donezo. It's done. New powers are rising. Sorry, everyone has their day in the sun, and then the sun sets. Boo-hoo-hoo. London. The River Thames.
The first submarines
is that the
Australia
booty car
will get will be
statue?
the American Virginias in the 2030s. Then in partnership
I don't
with
think it
Australia,
is.
the
It might
United
be.
Kingdom will design and build a brand new AUKUS submarine due in the 2040s. There is also dismay in the UK about Trump trashing old alliances and tearing up the global rulebook.
Well, we have had the privilege of having 80 years or so of an international rules-based order that was set up after the Second World War. Trump has broken that.
You know, dear old Trump coming in has made us all, stood everyone on their heads, really. Things that we absolutely took as a certainty are no longer a certainty. What he's been saying about Canada is outrageous, actually. It's outrageous. It's like stamping on a fluffy bunny, really, isn't it? I mean, you know, I think it's just terrible.
Donald Trump's jackboot diplomacy and America's lagging submarine production aren't the only potential stumbling blocks to the success of AUKUS and to Australia's strategic defence plans. This is Barrow-in-Furness in northwest England, home to Britain's only shipyards capable of building nuclear subs.
Well, why can't we get the Poms to build our subs? At least we actually, like...
This is what Barrow was created for.
I mean, that we have the same head of state. We are a realm. Like, we are a realm. Australia is a realm of the British Empire. Like, their sovereign is our sovereign. If we can trust anybody, it's surely the Brits. Look, do I like the Poms? I don't know. They do go on a bit. They are annoying. Like, oh God. The cricket fans? Oh, I don't even watch cricket because, like, I have ADHD and I cannot watch a game that goes for, like, days and has tea breaks. And look, like, there's no punch-ons. There's no, like, bloke-on-bloke action. I'm just not about that. I like the homoerotic aspect of sport. Like, I like the sweaty man-on-man action. That's what I pay to see. And the prospect of someone getting punched in the face is also always very titillating to me, I've got to say. I enjoy it.
So the whole town is built on the back of the iron and steel industry, and then shipbuilding as well. And then that's moved on now to submarines, but we actually did build the first submarine.
No, I don't like actual overt, like, man-on-man love. I just like that, oh, it's like, you know, maybe implied. Just like sweating men, like in combat sports, in like contact sports, that's what's hot. Like actual, like, is that pronounced Yowie? Like the Australian Bigfoot? I think that's how you pronounce that. I don't like all that weird Japanese stuff, and I don't want to watch like actual men going at it. Like, I'm not into that. I'm into, like, I don't know, just men beating the shit out of each other. It's just hot. It's just hot. Enjoy it.
In the 1800s.
Here in Barrow, the brand new AUKUS nuclear submarine, to become Australia's ultimate maritime strike weapon, is to be designed and built by BAE Systems, whose giant shipyard looms over the town. Known as the SSN AUKUS, construction of the first of these massive nuclear-powered subs is supposed to begin in Barrow by the end of this decade. Another production line will be established to build more in Adelaide, with Australia due to get its first SSN
I think you mean
AUKUS in the early
Radelaide?
2040s.
People trying to make Adelaide happen will never not be
program
funny.
Is on track. I'm not underestimating the complexity of this. This will be probably the most complex engineering feat in the world.
Like the American Virginia-class deal, Australia will pump billions into the UK's submarine industry to help the SSN AUKUS become a reality. It will need to, because like the US, the industry here is recovering from hard times.
For the first decade of this century, the United Kingdom did not commission a single nuclear attack submarine, and the workforce here at Barrow dropped by more than 10,000 people. Now, even with the rejuvenation of the industry, there are fears here.
See, this is what happens when you ship all the manufacturing off to China. China is now wealthy enough to be able to, you know, have a strong military, to be able to build itself up. They've established a middle class. The people are enriched. The military is equipped. And we have nobody with any skills in our countries to build anything. But, you know, we can go on AliExpress and get some plastic crap for $2 with free postage. So, you know, this is how these things play out.
Here in the UK, that the AUKUS submarine will still not be delivered on time or on budget.
The trouble is with huge complex programs like building nuclear submarines, you know, you can't, it's not like building a shirt for Marks and Spencer's. I mean, the length of time is huge.
Admiral Alan
it's
West,
Lizzie.
now
Rest in peace, Lizzie. Look, I'm not a monarchist. I think Australia should be a republic, but Lizzie was a bad bitch, okay? She was actually a boss babe. She was actually a girl boss or whatever those manifestation girlies call themselves. She had balls, mate. She was a legend. Big fan.
Lord west of Spithead
What an
is Britain's
icon.
former First Sea Lord, the official who oversees the Royal Navy's operations, including the deployment of submarines. He warns that when it comes to tackling the AUKUS nuclear submarine program, the UK is short-staffed and underskilled.
They're not there yet. You know, we've got to have a really major training program in terms of shipyard ability and also in terms of the nuclear ability. And we are having to
It's
rapidly
pronounced
train
nuclear.
and get people up to speed, and we're not there yet.
I mean, the history of all our submarine building programs has been that they go over budget and over time quite significantly, and costs just escalate.
That's the
Lord
same
Ricketts
as
is a
literally
former
every
UK
government
National Security
project in the
advisor,
history of the
and he
world.
also
Yep. 100% is.
warns that Australia should not expect the SSN AUKUS to arrive on time.
I think any sensible defence calculation will be that these things will be more expensive and later than is currently expected.
Well, as long as you give us
Australia has
something.
to expect that the timelines that are now drawn are bound to string out.
As long as you give us something.
BAE Systems has told Four Corners that the SSN AUKUS is now in the detailed design phase, with work on the first submarine for the Royal Australian Navy to begin on schedule by the end of this decade. The company is now recruiting thousands of new workers to train them for the AUKUS program.
When you talk about AUKUS and shipbuilding in general, they eat, sleep, breathe it here. So the AUKUS program, if you've got kids in school now, as they leave school, there is a job here in this industry for them.
Critics of the SSN AUKUS program say it has crucial flaws that go beyond training up a skilled workforce. It begins with the proposed size and scale of this nuclear-powered colossus. At 10,000 tonnes, the SSN AUKUS will be about 3...
Like in X-Men? Is this like in X-Men? Are we gonna get Colossus? Yeah, let's go. I'm Colossus. Sorry, if you can't tell, I was a massive fan of X-Men growing up. I used to be Rogue, in case you couldn't tell. I used to be Rogue because I have very long, blackish, brownish hair. Even at one stage when I was in high school, I bleached the front of my hair and I had like these long Rogue things. Oh, that's what I should do for Halloween. I should get like a black bodysuit and do like the Anna Paquin era Rogue. Ooh, because I've been working out. That would look fucking... Ooh, I'll look hot. Let's go. The bum is popping. The booty is popping, guys. Let's go. Sorry, I just thought about that. My brain just is all over the shop. We don't know what's happening.
Size of the Collins class, and 25% bigger than the first American Virginia-class submarine to be delivered.
Colossus. Hehe.
So, yeah, it's a big boat.
It's a big
far less
boat.
manoeuvrable than Collins is.
It's too big to fit into the shallow water. That's something like...
That's what she said, boys. It's too big to fit in my shallow waters. That would be the nicest way to let a guy that you didn't want to sleep with tell them that their doodle is too big. Guys, I just found the hack. If you don't want to hurt a guy's feeling because you don't want to sleep with them, just tell them you think that their doodle is too big. To swim in your shallow waters. All right, let's go.
like a Collins can get into. And a lot of the areas to our north through the archipelago and up into the South China Sea, shallow water is an issue.
So you think it's just too big for what we need?
Yes.
Then there is the nuclear reactor designed to power the SSN AUKUS that's being developed by Rolls-Royce. For 3 years in a row, the UK's Infrastructure and Projects Authority has marked the program under which the new reactor falls as being unachievable.
I think Rolls-Royce have had some real problems, and I think they will get through it. But they've got to bloody well focus on this. They've got to absolutely ensure that they're delivering on time with what you really need.
Rolls-Royce have been building the engines for our boats for decades now. I think anything they do, like anything else, when you change something and you develop something, things change.
Australia is sinking nearly $5 billion into the troubled Rolls-Royce nuclear reactor complex in the UK so that it can be ready for the SSN AUKUS program.
That'll take a little bit of time to wash through, but we are very confident that that will see a state-of-the-art reactor delivered to Australia on time.
And there is another factor that could delay Australia's ambition for the SSN AUKUS. And that's the fact that the Barrow shipyard is building the UK's preeminent strike weapon.
Okay.
The massive nuclear-powered and nuclear-armed Dreadnought submarine.
Oh, look, I will give this to the Poms. They are giving some fucking badass names. These, I approve. I like it. It's very chic. It's very now. It's giving big doodle energy. We like to see it. Dreadnought.
They're concentrating, of course, first on the Dreadnought submarines.
Release the
ones that
Dreadnought.
carry the nuclear ballistic missiles.
Let's
the Dreadnought
go.
has to take priority because that is the nuclear deterrent is our ultimate defence.
Ooh. 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 Ooh.
The world has seen momentous events since the signing of the AUKUS agreement in 2021.
Well, a lot has changed. We've had our own continent invaded, as you know, by Russia, something that I don't think anybody properly predicted. The challenges have grown. The world has got more dangerous.
The Russian invasion.
See you, Dango. I hope you have a nice dinner. I hope it's really delicious.
Of Ukraine has sparked the bloodiest conflict in Europe since World War II. For the United Kingdom, it sparked a tectonic shift in focus and priority.
Fundamentally, our first responsibility is in NATO, and that's where my focus is.
And while Britain, of course, has important relations with Australia, the centre of gravity of the country's security is in Europe. And so I think the whole context in which the AUKUS deal was struck has changed. And has changed durably. I don't think it's going to go back. I think we are now going to be spending and focusing on our security in Europe for the foreseeable future.
We will create a hybrid Royal Navy.
This month, while
Everybody's just fending for themselves. Everybody is literally just fending for themselves. Everyone's gonna fucking stab us in the back. These are both countries that Australia has sent our boys. Australia had nothing to do with any of these conflicts. We had nothing to do with World War I. Obviously, World War II at some stage when Japan got involved. Obviously, that was different. That was the only time Australia's ever been at risk. It's the only time Australian soil has ever been attacked. Obviously, that's different. But we've sent Australian boys off to die in Britain and America's wars, and they couldn't give a fuck about delivering us our goods that we've paid, that we fucking paid them for. Like, they're not doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. They're putting themselves first, and that's fine. But don't fucking piss on my leg and tell me it's fucking raining, mate.
Releasing a radical defence overhaul, the British Prime Minister recommitted his nation to a NATO-first policy.
Oh, this guy, when he was the British equivalent of the Director of Public Prosecutions, I believe it's called the Crown Prosecution Service, when he was the head of that, he covered up mass rape, mass R words of British girls. This is not a good person. And he shouldn't, the British Labour Party shouldn't be able to call itself a Labour Party. It's a party of elite oligarch dickheads who think that working class British women being R-worded is acceptable. Disgusting behaviour. Absolute state of this thing. Get a chin, you freaking weirdo. You chinless wonder. Seriously. People with no chins, watch out for them.
Policy. But he also pledged to deliver a fleet of SSN AUKUS submarines.
Under our AUKUS alliance with the US and Australia, we will now deliver up to 12 attack submarines protecting Britain's waters, scaling up the industrial base in Barrow and all along the supply chain to deliver a new sub every 18 months.
It's expected, or it's hoped, that the first SSN AUKUS will be in the water and operational in the early 2040s. Is that deliverable?
It is, but it's quite an ask, but it is deliverable.
A big ask.
I would hope Australia has got a plan B. I think it's always sensible to have a plan B, because you just never know quite what's going to happen.
By my count, this is Plan D that we're executing right now. It is the most capable submarine option that we have looked at in the history of the Royal Australian Navy. It is the right capability for our needs.
My understanding is there's been inquiries into the grooming gangs and that apologies have been made. Government officials don't typically give apologies unless they really can't deny or sweep under the rug anymore. But let's British grooming gang inquiry. For some reason, a lot of councils, so like local government, were doing inquiries where, like, in Australia, we would have like a royal commission, right? Like, we would have a royal commission in Australia has like insane powers. Like, they can compel anybody to testify, and, you know, under oath on risk of perjury. So it's yeah, pretty much essentially has absolute powers. Pretty badass. Royal commissions are fucking badass. Apologies. Okay, well, there's three recent articles. Headlines: grooming gang victim hopes inquiry brings answers. Chancellor dismisses hurt feelings after PM's U-turn on. Let's see what the little chinless dickhead's up to. Chancellor dismisses hurt feelings after PM's U-turn on grooming gangs inquiry. He's done a U-turn on it. The Chancellor... Fuck off, Sky News. The Chancellor has refused to say if the government will apologise for dismissing calls for a national public inquiry into grooming gangs after the Prime Minister U-turned on the matter last night. Rachel Reeves told Sky News Sir Keir Starmer changed his mind after a government-requested audit into the scale of grooming gangs across the country concluded a nationwide probe was necessary. Okay, so they've obviously found substantive evidence if they need to do a further probe. But she said the most important thing is to focus on victims, not the hurt feelings of how others may have spoken out. Speaking to Sky Sunday Morning with Trevor Phillips, Ms. Reeves said one of the reasons the Prime Minister changed his mind on the need for a statutory public inquiry is to ensure that people are compelled to give evidence. Oh, so it would be something similar to a royal commission then. Which local inquiries do not have the power to do. The Chancellor was then asked if there will be an apology to people who were criticised by ministers for talking total nonsense, spreading misinformation, and were accused of jumping on an extremist bandwagon. She replied, What is the most important thing here? It is the victim. So no, we're not going to take any accountability. We could have stepped in ages ago. We could have put a stop to this. We could have investigated it and given victims redress ages ago, but we just decided to call everyone conspiracy theorists. But we're not apologizing to the advocates that were trying to advocate to these girls, because it's not about them. No, you just don't have the emotional maturity to be able to apologize. That's called being a child. That's called not being able to take responsibility for your big feeling. The big feeling you should be feeling right now is shame. You should be feeling ashamed of yourself for not investigating this sooner. That's the big feeling. So yes, when you do something wrong, you should apologize, and then your feeling of shame, you know, might dissipate one day. And that's how being a grown-up works, guys. What is the most important thing here? It is the victims, and it's not people's hurt feelings about how they have been spoken about. No, if you call somebody who's literally advocating for R-word victims, child R-word, like we're talking about CSA here. If you call the people trying to advocate for those people the most horrific names, you need to apologize. What are you talking about? Am I taking crazy pills? What has the PM previously said? The Prime Minister has been sharply criticised for his comments about people calling for a statutory public inquiry. He said on the 6th of January, "What I won't tolerate is a discussion and debate based on lies without calling it out. What I won't tolerate is politicians jumping on the bandwagon simply to get attention." What he means to say is, what I won't tolerate is people pointing out that I am a sack of shit. We know, Sir Keir fuckface. Go eat a poo. Anyway, we get the gist. I can't. Sorry. It's too upsetting. He's such an abhorrent piece of shit. Take your pension. Like, this guy had the top job, the top prosecutor in the country, essentially. And he is a morally challenged degenerate who thinks that the R-wording, the mass industrial scale R-wording of children is something to be swept under the rug. He swept it under the rug. That is absolutely disgusting. Absolutely. Like, there aren't even words extreme enough for me to describe his level of conduct and just how how scummy, how absolutely disgusting this piece of shit is. You are a piece of shit, Keir Starmer. Absolutely. Sorry. Fuck it. I have to go back to the other video because I'm actually gonna fucking blow a gasket. I can't fucking deal. Oh my fucking god. Alright, calm down. Panda, deep breath. I'm gonna have an aneurysm.
No big defence policy or acquisition program comes without risk. But Australia has bet the house and its Indo-Pacific defence strategy on these nuclear subs. And with both the British and the Americans struggling to maintain their own submarine fleets, and with the global order being turned upside down by Donald Trump and his America First sledgehammer, and now his review into AUKUS, the delivery of the nuclear submarine program is far from assured.
You think the transfer of Virginia-class submarines to Australia will be a reality?
I think these boats will be delivered on time and in full, but, you know, maybe you'll play the tape back to me in the mid-2030s and, you know, I won't be right. I can't say 100%.
Do you think Australia will definitely get these Virginia-class
We're not getting
submarines
shit from the Palms or the Yanks.
Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Calling
yes.
it now.
110%.
On time?
On time's going to be...
And look, we won't need subs if we follow Panda's uranium enrichment and then nuclear plan, okay? Look, if somebody's got a ute, because I drive a Mini, if somebody's got a ute let's go road tripping. You know, it's winter. I can probably cop the UV. You know, let's go in the ute. Let's go just on some random Northern Territory road. We'll pull over when we see a yellow rock. It'll be uranium. We'll grab it. We'll go to the uni bars. We're going to hit up the Manning. We're going to hit up the Roundhouse. We're just going to hit all the group of 8 bars. We're going to give free beer to the STEM boys. They're going to enrich, like, we're going to have nukes by the end of the year as long as we keep the beer flowing. Like, it's all good in the hood. We don't need any of these submarines. I have solved all of our problems. I am a genius. Nobel Peace Prize for me.
On time. I have never seen a major defense program executed on time.
You think the Australian government should brace itself for the fact that SSN AUKUS may be a little late, years late?
I think people have to brace themselves for bad news every few years that actually it's going to be longer, actually it's going to be more expensive. It would be very surprising if this program bucks that trend.
We're absolutely committed to building our own nuclear-powered submarine and having that delivered in the early 2040s. That is our plan. That is our commitment.
There are questions about whether this submarine technology will be relevant by the time Australia gets it.
Probably
and even
not.
if it is, others warn that it's not Washington or London that presents the biggest risk to the $368 billion AUKUS submarine program.
How many houses could we build for that?
I think I think the
For
biggest
unhoused
threat
families.
is that there will be the Australian people and government will stay wedded to the fact they're willing to spend what is an unbelievable amount of money to become a nuclear submarine power.
A submarine program is a formidable industrial undertaking, and what it does require here as well in Australia is a real sense of national enterprise behind it. And that means leadership. It means it needs to be led by the two prime ministers and the two governments.
Submarining isn't easy, but we're bloody good at it. We've got a lot to be proud of. We've got a lot to be optimistic about.
Canberra's such a shithole.
Don't share that optimism.
Seriously.
Warning
What
that
an
Australia
ugly,
has not only
disgusting
signed up
place.
to a pipe dream
Such
costing
bad
hundreds of
vibes in
billions,
Canberra. You can tell that's
but
where all the
AUKUS deal
politicians
could very
live.
well leave the country's
Ugh.
maritime
Yucky,
front
yucky.
line
Keep poop.
exposed and even defenceless.
It's a bit of a dud, really. For the people of Australia who've paid billions of dollars, it's not very good.
Plan A is not going to work. Virginia's not going to arrive, and that SSN AUKUS is a risky proposition as well. I think it certainly is an illusion. It's an expensive illusion.
Never change your song, Four Corners. Fucking classic, bro. Alright, well, seeing as though I may or may not have blown the main artery in my fucking body. Yeah, people hurting children really upsets me. And the way that, not just in the UK, but obviously I think that's where Australia inherited it from, the way that working class women are treated when they are the victims of assault, especially assault, especially when, you know, the victims, where the perpetrators are either perhaps connected or have money, or there's some other reason why, you know, people aren't pursuing prosecution. It's disgusting. Nothing makes me more angry. So I need to take a chill pill. By that I mean paracetamol and a beta blocker. Gonna fucking calm my farm. Gonna calm right down. But thank you for hanging out. It's been amazing. I don't know. See you next time. Bye.